Snap
Can anyone tell what we're doing yet?
Can anyone tell us what that song is?
Gotta clean up these streets. Clean up these Manchester streets. Sick of it.
So, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to Silver Screentime. I'm here with Phill Sutton, Karl Porter, and I'm Ben Silver. And today we're going to do Taxi Driver, which is 1976 classic. Came out Columbia Pictures. Soundtrack by Bernard Herrmann.
Oh,
is it?
I think so, yeah.
Oh!
I recognise that name.
And Paul Schrader on the bloody typewriter, typing a bloody masterpiece up, if I do say so myself.
You know what's so funny, actually? It was the first time I properly watched this film, and it made me laugh watching the beginning of it, because I don't know if any of you have seen that Peter Kay thing.
Yeah?
The ice cream
man. Yeah, so he parodies that, doesn't he?
He parodies that, and it's like the same kind of how it's shot, close up to the ice cream van, close up to him, and it's him narrating, and going, no one likes ice cream anymore. Everyone wants burgers or hot dogs or bacon butties or coffee or tea. And it's just that, it just made me laugh, because obviously he's taking the piss. But then when you watch Taxi Driver, where it's originally from,
he's got it spot on.
De Niro. He's got it spot on, but it's just like...
I know, I think he's even got like like you say, like the ice cream truck coming, and it's like so good. So I watched it. Obviously, I've watched it lots of times. Same. I remember the first introduction to it was when I was in that DVD period that I've spoken about many times, in the mid-noughties, and I bought it thinking, this is going to be brilliant. It was a bit too art house for me. The first time I watched it, I was like, this is where's all the action? Because there's,
especially Robert De Niro as well.
Yeah, you expect Robert De Niro from Goodfellas to be like fucking...
It's funny, actually. His character, there's times where he's with, like, chatting to people, and I think he says, is it Betsy? Or
Betsy, who's
the
Cybill Shepherd.
Yeah. And the way he's chatting to her, like, there's a bit where he goes like, I don't like that guy you work with. I think he's silly.
Yeah, he's silly.
I'm like, right? And then I just picture Robert De Niro in Goodfellas, where he's like, "You got my fucking money? You got my fucking money." I'm like, that's Robert De Niro. That's the De Niro we need. But I thought that.
That's one of those things. Though, is like this was right at the beginning of his career, one of the biggest films that blew him up, kind of thing.
And Scorsese as well, would you say?
Yeah, definitely. Yeah. And it is very art house though.
No, it's a bit really art house and stuff. But obviously, once I started appreciating stuff like that, you get into it. And this time, like, I really noticed just how beautiful it is.
Yeah,
just
same.
like how colourful, like, and stuff like that. Like it is, and it's just so beautiful. How obviously brilliant, subtle, and De Niro's performances in it.
Yeah, amazing,
You think and obviously I've got lots of trivia about, I've got some sick trivia actually that I didn't even know.
Ben's never done trivia. No.
Triv. And so I fucking buzzed off it. Although it is a bit, it is bleak. It's not one of them where you're watching it to like as entertainment really.
Yeah,
it's almost like a fucking...
Yeah, it's
experience.
Like, check out this art. It's not like, let's stick a movie on Taxi Driver. You can stick Goodfellas on. You can't just stick Taxi Driver on. We wouldn't all be like chilling here and be like, should we put
kind of a background film. Maybe a little bit, where it's on and you turn to it now and again.
So, if I just refer to my notes, because I kind of did them in chronological order. So, one of the first scenes, basically, like, you see him come in and into the taxi rank, and he's like, I want to work anytime, anywhere. Anytime.
Like someone's nights done if he's like, I don't sleep at the night.
And it's you can tell it's in the 70s because, and it's so racist.
It's so
racist that basically back then, like, it's not which races do you want? Basically, you get to pick which races you don't want to work with.
Yeah,
it's not like don't be racist at work. It's like, right, which races do you hate so you can avoid them?
Exactly.
Will you go to Harlem? Okay, good. We do Jewish holidays. He said
Jewish holidays,
and he's like anything.
Yeah.
Anytime, anywhere.
In my head, it's like, is that him trying to just figure out if he's Jewish? It's like, you don't do Jewish holidays, do you? He's like, I can work those. He's like,
Robert De Niro's. Yeah. And then and then obviously like he's driving around the score by Bernard Herrmann, I think is his name. Hopefully I'm not butchering it, but I
think it's Butcher Herrmann.
I think it's Pat Butcher.
Frank.
But yeah, like that fucking, because it goes from like being this like really like jazz, like seductive jazzy thing to then like being like this like weird fucking score, like
horror kind of.
Exactly, like
it's
a horror
actually
thing.
Annoying at times.
No, it is.
Because I was watching that scene, I just started to turn it down a little bit. So I was like, it's too like.
There's moments where there's a lot of like screeching to stop, and it goes.
Like really like Halloween or something back in the 70s.
But that then, I guess, would have been like, whoa, the way they're using this music, and it's not mixed into it, and it's not like a trope yet to be like that. Whereas back then, it would have been like people would have been like, whoa, that.
It was like a stop-start kind of thing as well, wasn't it? A lot of the times in the film, that sort of like high pitch like noise coming in where it's like, oh, what's going to happen next?
It does really set the mood in certain places for what's coming or.
Because he's like, so obviously he's been a taxi driver for a bit. You see that, and then he's got his eye on Cybill Shepherd, who works at the politicians, the politicians thing, the campaign office. And what's weird, he says some weird lines to her. This is what's so brilliant about it, is because it's dead subtle. Like just one word changed makes him seem dead weird. So like he'll be like he says something like so that the girl first I think before he meets Cybill Shepherd he goes into the porn theater.
The porn thing,
he goes in there
and he goes to buy snacks, which is mental, to buy food. And like just little things like that on first watch, I was like, he's just buying some snacks to go to the cinema. So he tries to chat the bird.
Yeah.
He says
such a bit of a pussy about it as well.
Well, he says to her, this is what I wrote down. He says to her, I just want to know your name. I'm not going to do anything.
Exactly. Such a weird
that's
thing.
Such an interesting way to phrase it. I'm not going to do anything.
I know.
As if he was going to attack her. Or something.
True. And as well, I remember thinking like rewatching this part again. I'm going right, and I'm looking at it through this lens of like. They're really trying to sell at the beginning like he's a Vietnam War vet, and I never really watched it as that. And he's like loneliness has chased me around my entire life. He's saying all that stuff. He's like dopers, junkies, whores, scammers, bummers, flammers. But that whole bit,
it's all like 70s slang in it. Dopers, junkies, wet bags, head boys. You know what I mean? Just like fucking head boys, prefects, co-op workers. Fucking no.
There we go.
B&Q.
And he's doing that. And there's that whole bit where he's like, some nights, every night when I bring the taxi back, I have to clean cum off the back seat.
Blood.
I have to lick cum off the back seat.
And then he's cleaning it and just going like chucking the fucking ragged bit.
That bit, and then he goes into the porn thing, and it's like, it's really going like they're asking him, where did you serve? I was a Marine and stuff, and it's really painting the picture in that first scene when he's just stood there like smiling awkwardly talking to that guy, that he's like he doesn't know how to be a person. He's come out, and I started looking at it like that, like because it's very easy now to look at it and go like, what the fuck's wrong with this guy? But like. In reality, it's like people didn't know how to be people after like veterans coming straight out of a mad war and then being a taxi driver in New York, just in the night as well, and seeing like this New York in the 70s is absolutely carnage as well. It's known for being like one of the craziest times in New York, and I feel like this film paints it so well. But him going in that. I remember watching it at first, like when I was in my early 20s, just being like, "Oh, that must just be how he speaks to this woman and chats her up." But then when he's like, "I won't do anything," it's like this weird, like, do you have to usually qualify that with women? You have to be like,
say that
people are going to think I'm going to do something if I don't say that. Yeah.
And also, like, there's so much that's going on just in that interaction. Like, so for a start, she's probably thinking, why the fuck are you getting onto me at a porn theater?
Thing,
It's like,
obviously, you're all horny men.
Yeah.
Obviously, everybody kind of probably does that to her, maybe.
True.
So she's like totally shut off. And then there's even like a bit of a moment of humor after, because he says that, he says like, I don't want to do it. And then he's like, and then she goes, what do you want? And then when he starts ordering the snacks, it's so like trivial, because he's going, give me some juju fruits.
Whatever you see.
And doesn't he ask a question like, oh, I usually like, fucking fruit pastels, but
he gets popcorn, and then I think he gets Coke as well.
He gets a Coke, and then like some like sweets, and I feel like,
which is under the desk.
And he walks into the theater, and there's obviously porns on the screen, and there's loads of guys fucking wanking and that, and you're just like,
it's so mad.
Like you said, it must be like normal back then. With like being
I think that's on purpose to show how disconnected he is from the normal conventions of society.
Yeah, like he's not even treating it.
Because I think all the other blokes who are wanking, they've not bought snacks.
Yeah,
I feel like
just like
he doesn't understand the same way that he doesn't understand when he brought Cybill Shepherd to watch the porn.
Yeah.
Remember, maybe he goes on the date.
Off, he's like, oh, it's a porn, and then he's like, whoa,
what do you mean?
Yeah, 100%. And he's like, what? Maybe he thinks he has to get snacks so he can go into the popcorn and do the thing.
Yeah.
But
does anyone want any popcorn, lads? Hey, anyone want any popcorn?
Nah, it's got fucking.
Yeah, just reach over, it's in there.
What's funny about when he kicks, like, has a bit of an argument, and then she gets off in the taxi, he kind of just turns around and goes, I got a taxi. It's so funny because he's like, oh, I've only just thought of this now. Like, he goes back in the porn.
That is funny.
Just made me laugh.
He goes, I've got a taxi. Like, but it's like, but Robert, that's not the Robert. Travis, that's not the reason she's getting off.
She's like, I can't be asked being around. She's like, just get in the back.
He thinks that she's just gone like, I'm with this taxi driver now. Take me to a better movie.
But interestingly, I'll maybe just mention this trivia now, but that woman who's chatting up in the porn thing, that's Robert De Niro's girlfriend in real life.
What's
her Diane name? Abbott, she's called.
Diane Abbott. He had kids with her and stuff, hasn't he?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Yeah. So
he even look at him in the scene.
Well, that's it. I was thinking about this. That maybe with the bantering after Robert De Niro was like, "Yeah, that was good that you pretended that you didn't like me." And she's like, "Yeah, good acting, wasn't it?"
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
You never licked me out.
Why'd you go down on me? Did Joe Pesci tell you not to?
Yeah.
You know that story.
Anyway. I almost had him.
But yeah, so anyway, and then he's got his eyes on Cybill Shepherd, and then that whole, I noticed as well, like, because I'm a big fan of The Office, that whole thing between Albert Brooks, who plays her, Cybill Shepherd, the one who Robert De Niro's getting onto.
Who
plays the other bloke, the co-worker in the campaign office.
Kicks him out the
But they're what?
No, to get to it, that scene when he tries to kick him out, he's like,
I got that.
Because he's not. It's Robert De Niro.
Get your hands off me.
Like Robert De Niro's a guy who shoots someone in the head or has a character. He goes, I'm going.
also, what's it called? That's anyway, so fucking that's very between Albert Brooks and Cybill Shepherd. That whole thing's that's very Tim and Dawn from The Office. Like obviously, and I wondered whether, like, because obviously Stephen Merchant's like big film guy, whether he saw that and was like fucking like, because it was like proper, they were just like, like these little things in an office where you kind of like typing on a typewriter and he comes over and puts something there that like distracts you or what, stuff
she
like that.
pretends to throw the cup and it's empty.
That's it.
The match thing where he's like, how do you do this? And I was like, this is all really good.
All that stuff, and I think apparently all that was improvised by Albert Brooks because his character wasn't very fleshed out apparently.
Right, and he's a comedian as well, and
he's a comedian.
She must like him because, like I said, I think when she's chatting to Travis and he's like, oh, he's silly. She's like, I find him funny.
Yeah, but
I think he's silly.
I feel like what's a funny thing about it is you're watching it and you're going, he's a nice guy. Travis is like staring at them and he's like, that man's staring at me outside.
The tattoo is just sat there and he just fucks off.
Yeah, because but she's like, yeah, it is bothering me. Like, yeah, can you tell it's bothering me like that? And he's like, do you want me to do something? Like, proper being like, I'll do something like that. And then he goes out with an umbrella that makes him look a bit soft. And he's like, will you get out of here? And he's like, gets out of there. But when he does come in, like, when Travis Bickle does come in and he's like marching over to a desk and be like, I want to volunteer and all this stuff. It's like, I want it with you. He's saying like weird shit. What does he say? He said, I think you're lonely. He says all that to
like
her.
Everyone else kind of
yeah,
thing,
you're not like everyone else. All this stuff. And then that works. And like the nice guy who is like kicking him out, she's like, nah.
Well, that's what I thought, right? I thought I think this. I was like, yeah, like how come Travis Bickle? How come she says yeah to a date with him? And it's interesting because the only line that she laughs at is when he goes, "I'll be there to protect you,"
right,
like that. He says something like that.
Yeah.
But what I don't know whether you've noticed this, right? But in the back of the shot, Albert Brooks has walked round and he's going like that, like behind the pillar, making faces and stuff. And so it's a bit ambiguous to whether she's laughing at Albert Brooks or whether she's laughing at Travis Bickle. So it's like I just use
I reckon Albert
used his real name and used the character's name. People be fuming, but so like fucking it is a bit of a weird one because she never really does like him, but I mean she agrees to go on the date with him maybe because she feels like sorry for him in the moment or something. Or
is De Niro like a looker back then? Like
it's difficult to tell with De Niro.
De Niro's
never had any
film though.
Yeah, he is.
He's like skinny as well, though.
He's skinny, but he's like lean.
I don't think De Niro's ever had sex appeal anyway. Like I remember watching.
He's had hair loss like ever since he started filming, doesn't he?
What?
Don't know. He just looks like he just never looked like that kind of like trying to think of a. Like an actor.
Yeah, because
Tom Hardy.
He's not like a heartthrob or whatever.
Yeah.
He's not like conventionally good looking, but even people like Al Pacino, for example, I think that Al Pacino does have like sex appeal. Whereas De Niro, there's one. This is a different film, but Ronin. Have you ever seen Ronin?
Oh yeah.
Oh, is that with Thingy as well? The Gene Russell.
Yeah. The French guy.
He's got like a goatee.
French actor.
Because he actually, when he dies in it, he does my bit when he goes.
Yeah.
That's where that's from.
So there's a scene in that, and he De Niro basically like is like the love interest of like the hot Irish girl in it. And like there's a scene in it where she climbs over. They're in a car, and she climbs over on the car seat, and like she's straddling him, and he's kissing her, and it looks like the most wooden.
Oh, he's one of the worst kisses on film.
Yeah.
Whenever I see him kissing, he's like going like.
De Niro.
Yeah, De Niro.
Yeah.
Weird,
It doesn't look natural, does it?
Mouth.
No. It is always like, it looks forced. That.
Yeah, he is. He's very intense, and I suppose like conventionally attractive would be like, most women can agree Chris Hemsworth is attractive, but then you get some like I find Benedict Cumberbatch like, do you know what I mean? It's like that weird, unconventional. And I think De Niro's is like, he's so intense that I like that, but it isn't
like just gangsters and kind of violent,
intense
men.
Violent, intense men. Yeah, no,
exactly.
Heartthrob, as he were.
Yeah, exactly. So, but yeah, I wondered if that was the thing. Is she like going like, well, there's something exciting about this guy, and he's kind of a handsome guy, whereas Albert Brooks is just like, that kind of like.
Yeah, I think De Niro is attractive. He's got good. I think he's got good hair. He's got decent, face and stuff, and like he's got, he's got such an iconic look. It's actually difficult to decide whether he's good looking or not.
True, yeah.
Because he's like, if you were to draw like his little silhouette with his little pimple, you could probably from a few lines be like, that's Robert De Niro.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
So like,
he's no DiCaprio.
Yeah, he's no DiCaprio.
Leave Leo out of this.
Yeah,
but But in that, but I think in Taxi Driver he's not meant to be fresh guy. No, Phil.
No.
Because I think that was one of the things where I'm wondering why is it that they've written it so that she just picks him now, like because it doesn't seem like she is kind of like she's smiling when he's talking to him, but she's also got this like
suspicion.
we're going to be friends. It's kind of similar to that scene in Wolf of Wall Street where she's like, we're not going to be friends like that. It's like this like seductive kind of thing. And as well, another thing I noticed with Cybill Shepherd is that Scorsese picks those kind of characters, like those women. It's like her, Sharon Tate, Margot Robbie. Like it's all this kind of like Margot Robbie's like a super
Sharon
hot
Tate.
chick, but Sharon Tate's in Casino.
Yes,
like the blonde
picks
woman
like, kind
of
of
interest.
Sharon Stone.
Era.
Sharon Tate, Sharon Stone.
Yeah.
Oh, Sharon.
Is Sharon Tate the one who
died in once? Who got murdered by the Manson family?
Margot Robbie played Sharon Tate.
Oh yeah, she did as well. Yeah. Fuck.
So Sharon Stone.
Sorry,
kind of picks like maybe the iconic women.
Blondies.
Blondies. Yeah. Well, I suppose you couldn't have made her blonde because she's Italian anyway. But yeah, I did find that a weird part that she's just like, go on then. And it's almost like, is she picking like this weirdo because she wants something like it's boring to go out with that guy in her office? Is it supposed to show more about her that she's a bit like willing to be with this weird guy?
I don't know. I think maybe it's just like to set up his failure, basically. It's like to get the audience into thinking, oh, is he gonna charm her and like have this nice romance and the first fucking date? Oh no, so he goes for some coffee with her and she agrees and pie.
I've always wanted to, I don't know, go back in that time and have pie for some reason. It's just a thing in America, innit? In the 70s,
I bet there's still cool places.
But back then, because it's so, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it would be fun that.
Yeah, I think that they mean something different, when they say pie.
I reckon so, yeah. I've always thought that as well. Because it's not actual apple pie or...
Well, I think it might be. But I think when I think of a pie, it's more like, oh, do you want to come for a meat and potato pie?
Right, savoury one. Yeah, they're talking about like
blueberry
pie and shit, cherry
blueberry pie. My mama does the best blueberry pie.
Yeah, I think it's like a dessert kind of thing. But
yeah, on that day, it's dead weird though. Like he's saying just dead weird shit to her and... like, what was some of the lines that he says to her? You remember?
What when they were going for pie?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think just like I just remember that one being like, I don't like him. He's silly.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
And then also, I think he's like, do you want to go and watch a movie? And she's like, I gotta go back to work. He's like, well, not now.
Yeah.
Like maybe some other time. And then, she obviously agrees because but he's even so weird when like it doesn't work out. Because he's like, I phoned her 7 times and she didn't pick up. I sent her flowers.
Yeah.
And he's on the phone to her, and then it pans to like the street. In the distance when he's like going, okay, I don't know if he's talking to her or leaving a voice note, but could you leave voice notes back in the day?
You could leave answer machine. Like he would have been leaving answer because you can hear him when he's like that scene where she gets off in the taxi and he's like, I've got a taxi. It cuts straight to him being on the phone, being like, it's kind of funny that it immediately cuts to him being like, look, I've called you. Why are you not answering my calls? I've done this. And he goes at one point, he goes, maybe you're sick. Maybe it's a virus going around. And he's trying to like in his head go like, the only reason you left me is because you must have felt sick. It couldn't have been because.
It's just very odd in it where.
Well, this is it. It's all just odd, and it's like, and it's interesting because like another note that I wrote down was that like that basically all the normal people in it, basically everybody except from Travis Bickle, the senator who gets in his taxi, Cybill Shepherd, the porn cinema clerk. Everybody they all seem to be very sanitized, and they never really confess their true feelings and stuff. They're kind of just like, oh yeah, they're kind of just being very like as if they're being as if everything that they're saying is being recorded.
Right, yeah, I see what you mean.
You know what I mean? Whereas with Travis Bickle, he's the only one who's going, I fucking hate this, I'm sick of this. And
especially
he's like
in that taxi with that guy, when he's telling her, he's like, oh, what I do is clean up the streets and all. At first he's like, oh, that's nice. And then when he starts telling him the actual shit, they're looking at each other like,
a bit like,
what's this guy saying? He just says everything outspokenly and almost doesn't know like that he is saying like that kind of thing.
And like, so that senator, he's kind of like, and also so everybody feels like they're all part of this normal world that he can't quite reach, that he never quite gets access to. He tries to on the date and he tries to connect with the senator, but there always seems to be this weird blockage that he can 100%. Never get past. Like, it's interesting.
This would have been one of the first films on that like male loneliness type thing. There's been a lot of Joker and shit like that. It's very heavily inspired by this, but. Like that's been explored a lot more recently in the whole like fucking incel or whatever, but like it's the first film to be like, this is when a man can't figure out how to get a woman, he's just like, oh well, I'll do this then, and like I'll burst into her office and scream at her and all this stuff, like that. It just sends him on this like everyone's against me kind of thing.
So in the
like the rest of them.
No, exactly. So
he says that, doesn't he?
Yeah.
So in the chronology of it, so. Let's talk about. So he comes in, doesn't he? And he's like, "Why won't you answer my calls and all that kind of stuff?" And you think he's going to shoot the place up right there.
I thought he was just going to take like hostages or something.
Yeah.
Thinking, oh, he's gonna like take over or whatever.
Yeah. So and then yeah, obviously Albert Brooks tries to get him out, and then he does that hilarious karate stance, which is interesting because I only know from podcasts and stuff that like kung fu in the 70s in America,
right?
There was like this Bruce Lee fever, like kung fu fever, basically, where like it was super popular, and
I think he was like massive, wasn't he?
Yeah, and I think that's like a hangover from that like he's learnt this newfangled.
True.
Like,
I want to do it.
It does seem very kung fu when he does. I remember thinking like, what the fuck? Yeah. But
we
it does
see him
make
to the side,
sense,
don't we, as well? Like you don't see him because he's against the wall and he's like, hiya.
Yeah.
Did you notice, by the way? I forgot to mention this, but when we first see her walking in, he's like, she was the most beautiful woman I ever seen. It was Martin Scorsese is sat outside watching her.
He's a passenger as well.
He's a passenger as well. Crazy scene. We'll get to that.
She's got a white dress on, hasn't she? It's always some. You know what I mean, like white dress and like not like it's the same film, but the Matrix.
Yeah,
like,
no,
definitely.
Dress,
like America theme, maybe.
So then obviously, I think after that I can't quite remember. There's obviously loads of different scenes, like, but
he kind of comes across to. Sorry, go on.
No, I was just going to say, like, after, so he bins off Cybill Shepherd in his mind, and I think that's when he starts, there's loads of scenes of him just, like, driving, like, just doing his rounds in the taxi, and the jazz music's playing, and it's another bit of trivia that I read that, like, so that it was shot during the summer, and you can kind of tell because, like, and apparently there was also a strike on at the time for garbage.
There was a lot of
garbage truck people. So basically, he said everywhere that he shot the camera, there was just piles of rubbish everywhere.
There's like quite a protest as well, was there?
What?
Because like there's a few scenes where like how the cameras are shot. There's always protest of people, and it's not like they're just for the actual. Maybe they're not for the film.
Yeah.
That looks quite good, maybe, and where we can
shot
of them driving past, and they'll
show.
He always does like really good camera angles where he'll show you what's going on in the whole like kind of area.
It's so dynamic, like the way that
I definitely think that's right, because there's that scene where it shows him walking around from his point of view, and everyone's looking at the camera, and it's clear that in the 70s someone's walking around with a giant camera to get those scenes, and he's just walking through the actual public, and people are like, what the hell, what's that? And so he definitely did a lot of that, I reckon. But you can tell with all the junk on. I think that's still what New York is like, though. There's just bin bags everywhere.
In the 70s,
but what were we going to say about that? Sorry.
What was I going to say?
Yeah.
No, I was just going to say that, like, you can clearly tell because, I don't know, I just love, my favourite bit about the film is when that jazz music's playing, and that soft jazz music, and, like, he's just, you can just see the shots of just the 100%. Streets of New York in the 70s, and it's so 70s.
Yeah,
and, like,
it's so cool.
Like, and it's just, like, even, because I actually like watching, like, documentaries of, like from the 80s of like someone who's just driven around London in the 80s, and they filmed it. They just had to film it. It's on YouTube. It's like a 2-hour thing.
Right,
and I love watching shit like that. It's such a time capsule.
Where it'll just like show my journey from Manchester to Liverpool in a car in 1994.
Yeah. But usually like around a city where it's kind of like a famous city, like London or. Something like that.
Yeah, I don't know why I said like on the M6. I mean like around the city. Yeah. I've seen a few of them.
But yeah, so like fucking, I really like. Yeah, I love those scenes and yeah.
It is so cool. Like it really encapsulates that time. It seems.
And the lights, like, because obviously,
perfect.
Yeah, just like.
It almost seems like it's all. I saw this thing today where the reason that, like famous sporting images from like the Ali. Is it in Frasier, that famous picture?
Oh,
the reason it's got that haze on it is because smoking indoors used to be, and it's almost like everything's got this haze on it, and that those muted like colours from the 70s. It's all these green, red, and yellow kind of like. They use I think it was one of the first films that were really like. I don't know. I feel like for the time it seemed like. This was one of those where like the way it's coloured is amazing. And it wasn't as common for it to look so stylized in a way.
Yeah, it was even like the apartments and stuff, like the shot in, like it's so basic where it's like the same typical American like bit of a mess. Like like just like a little bed, bare medication next to it.
So his apartment. Yeah, so he's kind of got like a studio, what you would call a studio. You would like just open the door, and like that space is your whole gaff basically, and he's got that little bed. And there's loads of scenes where he's fucking like, he's just in his little gaff on his own, and he's and then he starts like obviously going on this mental thing. There's a scene actually where they all sit down. He sits down with all the taxi drivers.
That's so
It's almost like they're all open micers. Because
I thought the exact same thing. I was like, this is like
like. Are you,
they're
like any action. They're like, yeah, it's alright.
Yeah, it's like it reminded me. Like scenes from Louis, where they're outside the Comedy Cellar and like they're all talking that way, and definitely. I thought the exact same thing.
And also like there's a few funny lines that they say. There's a guy, one of the guys goes, this just opens with this. It cuts to him. He goes, "Midgets are funny." He's going, "Midget. I'd like to hold a midget." It's something like that, and then he goes, "They always want to sit on the front seat." Yeah, and then like it's proper like just like open micer kind of
100%. One of the first times they're together. It's going like he walks in. It is weird how it just the very first time they meet, it's like, hey killer, in the coffee shop, and that black dude sat there just super chill and he's just reading something, and then they're like, Travis, this is whatever his name is, and then he's just staring him out, and it's like setting up early like he hates black guys, and he's just staring at him like this, and you're like, this is intense. And then it's like the bald guy with the long, crazy guy, and he's like, he's telling that story where he's like, I jumped in the back seat with her, I whipped it out, and she goes, "That's love," or something like that, and he's like, and then I fucked her brains out. She tipped me $200, and I'm like, is this showing like just bullshit?
Bullshit
this guy's
story,
a bullshit,
And no wonder Travis Bickle's like disconnected from it all. He's like, fucking.
That
this
open
guy's
mic, isn't it?
shit.
You get on the scene and they're like, I did this and that, and you're just like, shut the fuck up.
Exactly. Just trying to, and that's another scene where, it's in the same moment where he's just looking at two black guys, and they're like, Travis. It's not like they're not like what's the problem. They're just like, stop being racist for a sec. Just look this way. And we know you don't like them.
Look at this here.
Just look it this way a bit.
Well, so I've got like loads more notes to say about it, but
let's have a wee break first.
If we could take a little break and then come back, we'll come back with some more kind of. We'll go through the second half of the film, and then we'll give you some trivia and some ratings and stuff like that.
Yeah. Perfect.
Nice. Are you not switching that light on, Phil? No. To be fair, I was going to say as well, we did say we were going to be dickheads to each other as well, didn't we, Jim? But we've not been. We've been sucking each other's dicks.
Fuck off, you gimps.
Everything you say, it's like...
So I've got a few more kind of notes. So the second half of the film, basically... he starts going mental. This is a mad scene where he gets a little scran, right? What he does is he gets like a piece of bread, white bread. He breaks it up into like loads of like little things, puts it in like a little bowl, and then he pours whiskey on it. And then all that sugar or milk or something. He has the weirdest fucking meal. He's having like cereal, but little pieces of bread and milk and whiskey.
Yeah, I bet that's like
is that a thing in the 70s? Yeah.
No, I reckon. Yeah, exactly.
That was nutrition in the 70s.
That's what he had in
Getting everything
Vietnam.
there with a high as well.
I reckon that's something mad that him and Scorsese are talking about, and De Niro's like, he should eat bread, cereal bread.
Well, interestingly, on the trivia, I read that Bernard Herrmann, the guy who did the score. I hope that I'm getting his name.
We should look it up. I'll look it up.
But he said that he refused to do the soundtracks. He thought it's going to be a car movie, and then he said when he saw the scene of Robert De Niro pouring whiskey on the bread and eating it, he was like, "I'm going to do it."
No way, that's what it's solid for. He's like, "No, that's a nutritious meal."
And this guy, the music for it. This guy did sit. Yeah,
behind the camera all tangled. Travis.
Imagine if that's how they did it.
Yeah.
That's Scorsese's like, come on.
Yeah. But the
Bernard Herrmann, you're right.
Yeah. He scored Citizen Kane.
Oh wow!
That was his first job.
Wow.
As a movie. And then I think he died literally a few hours after he completed the score.
No
for this.
way.
Yeah.
A few hours after.
So basically,
killed him.
Yeah. Travis Bickle killed him.
Yeah, I knew it. Yeah. Maybe he tried whiskey on his bread.
Yeah, he's like, I'll try that tonight. It's Christmas Eve. It was Christmas Eve when he died.
No way.
Yeah, it's Christmas Eve, special occasion, and he's like,
Travis, come back.
Yeah.
He's dying.
But yeah, so he fucking,
there's a lot of mad scenes in it though.
Go on then. What's your favourite mad scene?
One of the maddest scenes is when he's in the taxi. Obviously, he's in a taxi because that's what the film's called. One of the maddest scenes is when he's breathing oxygen. Oh my god, he got wet from the rain standing there. He's in a taxi with that like kind of fucking weird, like mad looking guy. Looks like a what's them people called? I'm not. It's gone out of my head, but he's sat there basically, and he tells him like
Chinese
people. No. He looks like a not like a vicar, but
rabbi.
Not like a priest, but
what's he saying in it?
He's got like proper long sideburns. This guy, he's got like a bit of a like mad like trim. He's got like ponytails and that. And he basically is in the back at cab and he says to De Niro, like, this is when he's just split up with Betsy. Betsy, and he's like, oh, like, I didn't tell you to stop the meter.
Oh, that's Martin Scorsese.
That's
Martin Scorsese. He plays.
And then he talks about his wife being in there.
Do you know what I find really funny about that?
So funny,
it's Scorsese, right? That's when he was at the height of his like cocaine addiction. And to me,
he's quite ballooned up in it, isn't he?
Would you say?
I quite say he's a bit ballooned up in it, yeah.
Really?
Because he's basically just like, because he says to De Niro, he's like, you think I'm a sick guy?
Yeah.
No,
like, sat on his booster seat.
Yeah, my wife. Yeah, and he's like, what would it do?
Yeah.
What would a 44 Magnum do to pussy?
Yeah. He's like, go in there. He goes, see that? That's my wife. That's not my apartment.
Yeah. Do you live there?
Like,
and when he says that line, I'm going to say neighbor instead. When he says a neighbor lives there. That's not my neighbor.
Can you believe it?
Can you believe it? Neighbor.
That bit is like, I'm like, it's funny how him and Tarantino, when it came to the film, the scene in the script where they say that word, they're both like, I've got that. They're like, you don't have to cast anyone. I'll do that one.
He's just like, I'll sit
there. He's like, when he's like 60, he's like, what are you going to do with your life? Martin Scorsese is like, well, I really want to say the N-word, but so the only way to do it is to become a film director and give myself the part.
Like a critically acclaimed massive film in the 70s and just say it. Like,
really viciously.
No, that's so interesting. I never realised that before, that Tarantino and Scorsese both say the N-word.
And they're both like, I'll do that scene. I've got it.
No, it's sounding there.
No, we've got Joe Pesci. No.
And also they'll be like, listen, Marty, because he had to sit on like a cushion to make sure he was high enough.
Just had a booster seat then, right?
He had to sit in a booster seat, so they're like, listen, Marty, like, you can't even fit in the back of the taxi. He's like, we'll get a booster seat. We'll get a booster seat.
He's like, get two.
I'm saying that word.
I'm saying that word in the middle of the cab.
We were actually thinking of, you don't actually see it's a black guy, so I don't think it's that important. No. It's very important that we say that.
Like, even De Niro's acting in that way, he's not even saying much.
Oh, it's so good.
It's so good in it.
I wonder if they were saying before, like Scorsese going, don't even answer me.
And probably De Niro being De Niro, he's just like, don't worry, mate. Like,
well, it's interesting because after he's just been fucked off, like you said, by Betsy, it almost like appears as like you're thinking, is Robert De Niro going to agree with this guy?
Yeah,
and
it's
be like,
right after that.
And be like, because. And it's interesting because he doesn't really rise to it. It's almost like Travis Bickle in that instance looks like a dead, like level-headed, normal dude, where he's like, this guy's mad. Like, I'm going to have to do it because it's my job, but, he's
just doing like the same kind of thing he does with certain people. He just goes,
there's
like a little smirk and that. He doesn't really
like, he's not really, he's just like smirking to like not be like,
I don't think he smiles
no.
at all. I can't, does he?
Well, he does this kind of like...
Cab, when he's getting his... first scene, he's kind of smiling at it.
Yeah, but
I mean with Martin in that Martin Scorsese.
Oh no, I think he looks so drained.
Oh right, but he's kind of got this like he just kind of does this like acknowledgement, kind of like very subtle acknowledgement, but he's never like agreeing like that. But it is interesting how that's straight after the scene where he's like lost it and he's been like and all this stuff, and it's like like you said, it makes him. Maybe it's them going, here's a very extreme version of what you could be. Or like even like how mad is it that on the night that you got fucked off and you're like, when he's saying you're like the rest of them, that very night there's a guy in your car being like, a woman is cheating on me, and like Travis in his head is like, it's feeding this thing of like, women do. And then another scene in that same bit, I think it's from that same night, when he's following Jodie Foster and the other girl.
I was just about to say, we haven't spoke about
Jodie Foster.
Jodie Foster's
she comes a little bit later on. She's in the beginning,
doesn't she?
To get away. But I was going to say as well, to be fair, obviously, unless you well, we're recording two today.
Yeah.
Silence of the Lambs and Taxi Driver. We're basically doing a Jodie Foster special.
We're
doing it from like when she became like this youngster in a film, and then the next film is like, oh, she's a grown up now.
Well, there's a theory. There's a big theory. If you want to talk about Jodie Foster,
okay, I was hoping we'd bring this.
Silence of the Lambs and Taxi Driver connect because Clarice Starling is actually the prostitute who. So like
then goes to school at the end.
And then in the 90s, she's like, oh, you know, I'm gonna sort my life out. I'm gonna become an FBI agent to stop like whatever. And then and then Silence of the Lambs. That's just Iris, but like grown up.
Right.
Yeah. But the other thing is though, she had a dad in. She has like flashbacks of her dad in Silence of the Lambs, doesn't she?
That's true. But her dad died when she was 10. So 10 years old. She's 12, isn't she, in Thingy? Her dad dies. She's got no parents left. She goes to New York City. She becomes fucking whored out or whatever. She's selling you little pussy. She sells a little pussy.
You can fuck her in the mouth. Come on her face. She make your dick explode. I'm watching this going. Well, how do you react to this scene? And even De Niro's just going. Yeah.
He's like,
De Niro, this 36-year-old man, Travis, like, she make my dick explode.
Yeah. Because it is mad. Because obviously he goes, she's 12-year-old, man. You never seen a pussy like it. And all this kind of shit.
It's like maybe pussies at that age shouldn't be getting seen though.
You know what? You're right there, Carl.
That's a hot take.
We'll clip that.
I'll stop doing it.
Just that one bit in there.
It's like, well, where's all the fun bits?
No, but yeah, like so with that scene. Oh yeah, just quickly say about that scene to the point that it's another thing that sends him on this like I'm going to do something about this city.
That triggers him. It's so ruthless that it triggers him to.
And that same bit with the Jodie Foster bit. There's a black dude running past and he's going, I'm going to kill her. Like, and it's another one of like another woman is like and I have to clean up this city and all this stuff. And
then he starts but he buys all them guns off that guy, which is quite a cool scene. I like that scene.
Really funny scene. That like Mick Jagger looking guy.
I just like at the end after he gives him the guns, he's like, "Do you want anything else? You want crystal meth?
Downers?
Downers. Some meth. I can probably get your Cadillac for $2,000.
Yeah, that's one of the funniest ones.
All that stuff at the end is improvised.
Right.
I read in the trivia that Martin Scorsese said at the end when you like packing up the case, just
sell him on stuff.
He does look at it, De Niro, where he's just kind of naturally just going, I don't do any of that.
He's like, I don't need that. What's some of the stuff? One of the. I always remember that scene when I've watched it for the first time because he's like, look at that's a thing of beauty. Like he keeps saying that, and he's like, beautiful little gun. He sounds like Elmer Fudd as well. I realised he's got that like funny. Do you know what character I'm on about?
Bald character.
Yeah. And he there's one bit where he puts from Looney Tunes. He puts the holster in, and he's like, "Isn't that a little honey?" He keeps calling it a little honey and stuff. Like it's a really funny character.
He's also when he's aiming the gun out the window, like he ends up coming to like two women.
Yeah,
that's Robert De Niro, isn't it? Yeah.
And he's just like proper like going.
Yeah, it's mad. Like I think that's the scene that I remember from watching it like on DVD when I was younger. That I was like, all right, now we're talking some guns.
It's just like now the serious like half's coming at film.
Yeah. So then like fucking he does that, and then
that's a workout.
What's so funny is fucking when he's posing in the mirror with the gun, he keeps grabbing for the gun, but very camp. Like he keeps going. Like that. He keeps going.
He does. Yeah.
Sometimes goes at the back. He just goes. Well, you coming on me? Is that calm? Well, you must be coming on me.
You just exploded on my face.
Yeah, but it's interesting because do you know Robert De Niro dad's a gay painter?
He is Basquiat. Yeah.
Gay painter. No, but Robert De Niro's dad is like a famous painter, and I think he was gay, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Which is interesting. I don't know whether Robert was, channeling some of that, when he was like reaching for the gun, and he was just
that's how his dad.
I don't do that.
Reach for an easel.
Yeah. That's how his dad reached for a fucking paintbrush. He was like that.
Yeah, and he's like,
you painting.
Get the skirting board.
Yeah, you painting on me.
That's like one of the most. Is that like? from Big Famous where he's like, "You talking to me?"
Yeah, that's
yeah.
the
Well,
one.
it's actually not directly from that scene. That's from one where he's posing in front of the thing. But then the later scene, where he's like, "You must be talking to me because there's no one else here."
Is that like from that? He's not got it from like an old Western.
No, that's improvised as well by.
Yeah, it's
De Niro.
so like famous, isn't it?
But apparently he stole it from. There was like a famous acting studio institution in New York called the Stella Adler.
It was, I read his book, De Niro's biography, and it said this, a couple of years, like 10 years ago now. And I remember this, that he like, he did a lot of that where it's like he used stuff in films that he learned in an acting class, and like, because you're not really stealing it if it's not on film already.
No,
Do you know what I mean? It's like the Sacha Baron Cohen thing where he like did a voice of his his French clown teacher in a film, and copied that kind of thing. Yeah,
and like DiCaprio, that thing that he does in Wolf of Wall Street, that that's like a thing that Matthew McConaughey was doing, like as like an acting technique to get you into the scene or whatever. And DiCaprio was like, "Oh, we should bring that into
100%.
But yeah, so he's fucking going mental, and then these hanging around the Senator Palatine.
That's so funny that, because he's so shit.
What?
Because he gets like caught out straight away.
Yeah.
Because he even looks like so odd.
Yeah,
like, he's got the hair there.
Well, at first, because his hair's like kind of normal at first.
Yeah.
Then you can tell that he's cut it himself, and it's still a little bit longer.
Oh yeah.
And then he goes into the fucking.
Well, but also
head.
before the shaved head, it keeps cutting back and forth between longer hair and shorter hair. And I was like, is that intentional or like accidentally? Because I was like, is it supposed to be like a flashback or something?
Yeah.
Because it's got him with that weird like. And as well, I remember thinking when he goes and talks to that security guy, his hairs are like different to what it has been, and that for the 70s would have been a mad haircut. It would have been like, why has this guy got it cut like?
Well, I think that's to show that he's done it himself.
100%,
It does look like that. It looks like he's just hacked into it.
True.
And so he does look a bit bizarre. And like you said, he's been has that conversation with that dead tall guy. And it's funny that in the 70s, no man was hench. Like all bodyguards, if you were tall, you were a bodyguard. You were security. You were the hardest guy in the world. If you were above like 6'2" or whatever.
And it's like
he's just this bloke. He's dead tall, gangly, and that, and he's like meant to be this like 100%. Secret Service.
Yeah,
guy.
no, it was crazy to be a big guy. Like even like the
Arnie was the first one.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah, like before that, it was like Burt Reynolds, and it's just like now it would be like the like a 50-year-old dad in good shape.
Yeah,
You'd be like, he's in pretty good shape for a 50-year-old dad.
Yeah.
Whereas that's what Burt Reynolds' body was.
If you played squash in the 70s, you were one of the hardest men in the world.
100%.
But it is funny though. I did find it hilarious where he's like, he's going to assassinate this guy or shoot him or something. He's proper like, just standing there, and then they just come straight towards and the first security guy go, I see him. And then he just goes, oh fuck, and he just like legs it, knocks someone over and runs off. And I'm like, I just remember sitting there going, fucking pussy. He shit it this.
100%. Well, interesting bit of trivia for that. Jodie Foster. No, there's a guy, Ronald Reagan, the president. Have you ever heard about this? There was an assassination attempt on him, and the guy was, when he was asked why, he's like, I was doing it for Jodie Foster, and he was like copying Taxi Driver. So the guy, and he's called John Hinckley, right? He only just got brought out of prison recently, but that was the whole thing he was doing it, and he was like, I watched Taxi Driver, and I was like, he wanted to get Jodie Foster to love him, so he was like, all right, well, I'll kill the president like that, and like that's what influenced that.
In his head he thought it's mad, like. And then so obviously he goes up to that, like, he goes up to Jodie Foster, and he's like, he goes out for a little bit of breakfast with her, doesn't he?
Well, just before it, like, he goes in the room with her. It's so like, the fact weird. That she's like undoing his belt, and he's just, and you're just like, she's fucking, like, he's not gonna bang a fucking 12-year-old.
Yeah, well, that's the weird thing is he keeps going like, no. What he goes? What's your name? What are you doing?
What's your name?
He says, what's your name? She's like Iris. No, she says a different name.
What she say? She goes like Honey or something.
Yeah, and he goes, no, what's your real name? She goes, Iris, and he goes, no, that's a perfectly good name. He goes, that's what you'd think. And I'm like, what does that mean?
And then she's like, do you want to go? And then starts on his belt, and then he chucks her on the.
How do you want to make it? But he is fighting with it every time she goes through, and she's like, no, like that. Like he keeps coming out of it. And it's like, is that how lonely he is? Where he's like,
in like real life, you got.
He'd be like, get this 12-year-old away from me.
But he says something also dead corny to her, where she agrees to go to coffee with him, and he just says something. He goes like, "All right, Iris." or something mad, and then just walks off like it's a fucking
like some romantic film.
She's fucking 12.
Yeah.
And then again, she's eating pie.
He is such a hilarious character when you think like it's never funny, but when you retelling like the things, it's so funny. Like when he's sat there with her, he's having breakfast with her, and he's like, "You like that guy? He called you names. You know that? He called you a little piece of chicken." Yeah, that's what he said to her.
Yeah, there's so many mad lines in there.
And I don't remember him saying that. I don't remember him saying a little piece of chicken.
I think it's more so because it's Robert De Niro. Yeah. Trying to be this
he called you a little piece of chicken.
She wears two like shades in that, if you noticed.
It makes her look so young as well. That scene, She got the green
ones on, and then like when she's like getting ready to go, she puts on like proper decent shades
over the top.
And I remember just going, "What's Scorsese said out here?"
It's bright outside.
So where are we up to? The workout bit. We've not even done that bit. Do you know when he's like, no more bad food, and he's doing the pull-up. Yeah, that bit. I used to think, right, that when he's doing that, I thought he was like squeezing something over the sink.
Something.
But he's just got his hand over the stove.
Yeah, and it's on.
He's just, it's on. He's just burned his hand. But he's just all like ripped and lean. Oh, De Niro. No, and there's the bit because he's doing the clap push-ups, and you got the scar on the back and stuff. Yeah, he's smashing them. Doing the pull-ups and that, and but he's just like. It is that descent into where's the bit? Oh, it's not that bit yet where he kicks the TV over, is it?
That is such a mad because I remember watching that scene where he's just slowly. And I remember just watching it going, "He's going to knock TV." His foot's going, and it's over like exaggerated. The TV just blows up.
Yeah, blows. It's spoken.
And I'm just like, that's the 70s, isn't it?
Yeah, true. Like the big box.
Well, they were nuclear powered, weren't they? Tellies in the 70s. But imagine that you had to fucking start up your TV with like a lawnmower. But that scene, and then he goes to sleep in all his clothes at one point. He's got he's got like the jacket on and the fucking boots, the cowboy boots with the jeans tucked in, and he's like he's like tucking up like
he's laid on the quilt.
Oh, is it?
He's literally like got nothing over him, and I'm like, he's cold him.
Is that supposed to be like, look, he's gone back into like Vietnam?
Yeah, he's got that mindset of like, I used to sleep in trenches or whatever.
All those things, the elaborate, like he's made it out of like a drawer and stuff, like he's took the thing off and it slides on his leg. It almost seems, I remember thinking like, it doesn't seem practical this when he's going like, whoosh, I'm like, how is that gonna?
And also he's got the gun in his arm where he's like,
and it slides.
Well, I think also, it's maybe it's like that because when he actually does at the end, he culminates in this big rampage scene.
It worked.
He kind of, he gets shot quite early. He gets shot in the neck, like rapid, fucking.
That would have instantly killed him, man.
Well,
I thought it was more like his shoulder.
He gets shot bang on the neck.
Was it on the neck?
Yeah.
Right.
And then he gets shot again, I think, in the arm, or it might be the other way around.
Okay.
But,
no, I think because I think it's the neck first, and then I thought that's a wound where he's gonna
die.
Yeah, because it starts going.
Very Scorsese that for the blood to just go.
But it's interesting because you
fucking.
Because you can tell because obviously famously the whole last scene's saturated of all the colour because if they included it, Scorsese, it would have been an X rating, which you can't show at the cinemas.
True.
So basically, Martin Scorsese, apparently there's this big legend that Martin Scorsese was waiting with Jack Daniels and a gun, basically waiting. He was going to go and shoot the producer or like one of the executives of Columbia Pictures.
Wow.
And something happened where like they agreed to like if you desaturate it, we'll do an R rating.
Because he was so obsessed, like this is my film, and he's on coke.
You're gonna sabotage it because basically they wanted to take that whole scene out at the end, which would have been dead weird.
Yeah, it would have made no sense.
Culminated in nothing.
Like shoots that guy's hands off as well, doesn't
he? Yeah, shoots that guy's hands off.
Oh yeah, it's so crazy. Like stabs him in the hand and I'll kill you, you son of a bitch! I'll kill you. He's like chasing him,
and then that guy shoots him in the neck who he shot outside. What is it, Matthew or something?
Yeah.
You got a gun?
Yeah.
Fucking shoots him in stomach and that.
Shoots him, and then there's this weird scene afterwards, which I don't know what you think about this. Is that like, so you'd think, he's dead, 100%, but then it's like pans over like lots of things being like hero taxi driver saves this and all this kind of stuff, and then he picks up Betsy at the end,
and takes back, and then she's like, how much for this?
And he kind of pies her off, doesn't he? And he's like, nah. But obviously that's interpreted as is that just him in his coma? Is that a dream, or is that what actually
I did
happens?
think that. I'd never really thought about it in that way before when I've
But he also starts having a little chat with the taxi drivers as well, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He comes out, and he goes, "So is it like
Travis?" And he looks sound.
Yeah,
because he's doing that, and he like going.
Yeah.
Like blood everywhere, police are like thinking or whatever. Like, so it's a weird down because I thought, they're gonna shoot him here because he's just like caused all this havoc and that. But then he's like, he's a hero.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? He saved this girl. She's back with her parents. And then they say something like, "We couldn't come to New York again because we couldn't afford it."
Yeah.
I was like, "What? Like, tight that. I just saved your daughter." He goes, "I can't come and see you again."
Yeah. No, but I think that's Travis Bickle's ideal situation of like he wants to get a letter saying that you got it, but he doesn't actually want to meet him because he can't deal with people.
True.
Pulling gun out of armor.
He just wants that like accolade of being like, you cleaned up these streets, like you said.
You were a legend, right? So I'm just gonna whip through my trivia a little bit here. I've got some cool Robert De Niro trivia for you.
Sick.
So basically, to prepare for the role, he literally got a license as a cabbie in New York. And apparently one of his fares was a struggling actor, and De Niro had just won, like as he was filming this, the Oscar for Godfather Part 2.
Oh yeah.
And it just shot him to mad fame, right? And he said some struggling actor got in De Niro's taxi and was like, What he was like, "You just won an Oscar." He was like, "Is it that bad that you're now a taxi driver?"
Wow.
And so fucking he thought that like the industry was that fucked that like he just won an Oscar and he was still working as a taxi driver.
That's so
was the
funny.
actor, did you know?
No, it doesn't.
I was going to say, did he turn out to be fucking
Yeah.
Al Pacino or something?
Yeah,
Will Smith.
Al Pacino after he's done Godfather 2.
Yeah.
This what happens, huh? Come on, drive me to fucking coffee.
I'm glad I didn't win the Oscar.
But what were you going to say?
I was going to say like that couldn't really. That was so early in his career that he's like, all right, I'll still go and. I'm not that famous, I don't think, even though I've won an Oscar.
He could still do stuff like that. Yeah, no, definitely.
There's absolutely no chance that anyone's doing that nowadays.
No.
Do you know what? I might go and be an Uber driver a bit so I can play this new film Uber driver.
So it says he works 15 hour days.
Wow.
15 hour days. I wouldn't even do that in my day job. For a month. And he studied mental illness, and he went to a US Army base in northern Italy and tape recorded conversations with Midwestern soldiers so he could pick up their accent.
Wow!
So he's like gone like super specific,
like as method, like
So I've got I put that John Hinckley Jr. one down. Bernard Herrmann I've told you about he agreed to do the thing when he saw that Travis Bickle pours. It's actually schnapps, it says. Schnapps.
Oh, right, the
bread,
drink. Okay.
But yeah, Diane Abbott was also the woman in the thing. So basically, this is the whole legend about Martin Scorsese. So it says that the clash between Martin Scorsese, the MPAA, and the executives at Columbia Pictures over the violent content of this film has gone to legend. One of the biggest rumours is that when facing an X rating, and having to edit the film, Scorsese stayed up all night drinking with a loaded gun in his hand, preparing to shoot the executive at Columbia Pictures the next day. After an entire night of persuasion from his friends, Scorsese decided to mute the colours in the violent climax and subsequently got his R rating. So,
I wonder if that had anything to do with Raging Bull being black and white, because that was like 4 years later. It was another one where he's like deep into a coke addiction and like had loads of struggles with the studio about it. So I wonder if for this one he was like, there's going to be I'm going to put so much blood in it that I'm just going to make the fucking thing black and white.
It's crazy that.
Apparently Oliver Stone, you know who Oliver Stone is? He wrote the script for Scarface. And he also directed Platoon.
Yeah.
And he basically he's a bit of a mad guy, Oliver Stone. He's like quite outspoken guy. Mainly about fucking capitalism and the CIA, but he says basically he believes that he was the actual model for Travis Bickle, because he says that he was being taught by Martin Scorsese at the New York Film School at the time, and like Travis, he was a Vietnam veteran turned New York City cab driver, who wore olive drab army coat whilst on duty. So there's that thing where so Oliver Stone thinks that he was like Travis Bickle.
So, but did you? I can't remember, but whose idea was the film? Was it Paul Schrader?
Yeah, it was Paul Schrader.
Yeah, so
that's bullshit. Because I think that Brian De Palma was actually meant to be directing it at first, Taxi Driver, and then it got for whatever reason he got sacked or something, and then Martin Scorsese jumped on it. Jumped on the film.
Right.
Jumped on the film. Couldn't see him, so they got him a fucking.
But so that's all the trivia that I've got for you. I don't know whether you guys have got any, but there's another little bit. I don't know if you know who Salvador Dali is.
Oh yeah.
He's an artist from Spanish artist, but he famously did the melting clocks. If you've ever seen that, it's like a famous thing, like surreal artist basically. Like
you'll recognise the
famous guy. Says in a recent cast reunion, Martin Scorsese said that the famous Spanish artist Salvador Dali was staying at a hotel where the rest of the cast and crew was situated. They'd see him every day sitting in the lobby of the hotel restaurant sketching and taking notes. So much so that Scorsese was tempted to stick him in the movie, but he said that it would have ruined the dark mood of the film, so he sort of fucked it off. But
true. To just have him suddenly like being a wacky guy, and
being like, oh, there's Salvador Dali, just but still like cool as fuck. Just shows like how much of a melting pot New York City is. You know,
the 70s, the colour, the distinction, the close-ups of everything. It's filmed uniquely. Martin, pack it in with your rich tea.
So that's all the trivia I've got.
I've got three for you here that I've just looked up in the spoilers bit. De Niro's mohawk wasn't real. There was a bald cap with like when he pulled his hair out of it.
I thought that because they'd kind of fucked it up, it's not completely straight at the back.
Right.
Yeah, it does look a bit wonky, doesn't it?
It looks
but
a bit
I suppose
wonky.
if he shaved it himself,
that's it. Yeah, I thought that. Yeah.
You can get away with it.
Being that method actor, he's like, nah, just do it, and then we'll just shave it off, like like everyone does, becomes bald.
Yeah,
true.
He's just like, I want to be one of them.
They would have had to film it in mad sequence.
Yeah, that's why they had to do it, so he could go back to. Although the haircuts and stuff doesn't really make sense. That picture at the end is Scorsese's parents. Their parents. Yeah, that's cool. Yeah. Nice.
Sick. Yeah, so should we say we've not even done best performance, best and all? It's a bit difficult to do best performance because obviously it is De Niro's in every single scene almost.
Except for 2 scenes.
It'd be hard to pick anyone else really.
I know.
And that being like his not breakout role, but
it is one of his like it's like it's a seminal moment in his career, like for sure.
I think we'd all agree it's Robert.
Yeah. Although Jodie Foster, for a fucking 12, or however old she is, actually is, maybe if she's 15 or something, like, for a 15-year-old actress, man, that's fucking sick.
Yeah,
like,
and, what she's gone on to do as well.
Like. Exactly, like, smashing it. So, trying to think who else. Obviously, Harvey Keitel is in it.
That was one of his first big roles.
Because, again, he's like a guy who's been in a lot of, like, Reservoir Dogs.
Martin Scorsese actually wanted him to play Albert Brooks' character.
Oh, okay.
But for some reason, Harvey Keitel chose the pimp, even though the pimp had like 5 lines.
Right.
Maybe he just wanted to say 12-year-old pussy.
Yeah,
you know, like Martin Scorsese wanted to say the N-word.
Yeah, definitely.
Harvey Keitel was like, I'm definitely going to be able to say 12-year-old pussy. I'll do that. Oh, your dick explode. I thought, so favourite scene in it? My favourite scene, probably... I don't know. I just, for some reason, it just sticks out in my mind. I love the gun scene where he's buying a gun. I like that scene for some reason because it's a bit weirdly, even though he's buying a weapon and he aims it at some women, it's probably one of the most like less anxious scenes in the film. Yeah, because all the others is either fucking getting spurned on a date or he's fucking being awkward or not speaking to anyone.
That's probably normal to him though, isn't it? Because he's like a veteran thing. He's just going like, I played with guns all the
time. So that's probably my favourite scene. What about you?
Well, I did like the one in the where it's got, didn't even know it was him, Scorsese.
Oh yeah.
I just feel like De Niro like.
In that scene as well, it's so well shot. Like in Martin Scorsese, it's backlit with all green light. And what's so green? Cool. The color of envy and jealousy. So like, nice. Do you know what I mean? Like fucking.
Because they have a color theme in it.
Yeah. No, exactly. So
I know that from that. So it makes, that's.
So like that's obviously premeditated by Scorsese. He's like, right, let's have the fucking jealous colours.
Yeah. It almost thinking every time you mention the scene there, thinking back, it really does seem like he's like boosted way up on it.
Actually a little bit taller than Robert.
So that's your favourite scene.
I think
is
just
nice.
like Robert De Niro's arguably one of, if not known as the greatest actors, and with him not even saying anything and still putting on a performance. Shit me, like that's fucking
brilliant.
Crazy.
Yeah.
And also Scorsese in that scene is sick. I remember first time watching it, like you not realizing it was him, and being like,
oh no, he's a great actor.
Weird,
really good acting.
Really good actor,
really good acting, like proper. Like I was even thinking, like like he's giving like Harvey Keitel run for his money, like other characters, other people in the film, like other big actors, like Martin Scorsese, fucking when he's like,
it's such a big presence.
He's like proper, gets it bang on.
Even like Harvey Keitel, I think growing up, us lot like. In the 90s, I just know Harvey Keitel as like grey hair. So like it took me a while to notice him as well. And I was like, oh shit, that is Harvey Keitel.
Because he was in Mean Streets, which was the film before this as well. Yeah, that Scorsese did. And De Niro was a smaller part in that, so it kind of switched for this one.
What's your favourite scene?
Maybe, do you know the one that starts with like... it was a midget like that, and he's like, I love midgets and all this stuff. That whole bit is funny, but when he goes outside and he's like, can I talk to you? And he's like, you're the only other guy who gets it, as in like you're a veteran as well. And he's asking him all that stuff, and this guy's going, you down? He's like, I'm a little down like that. And he's like, and I'm like, this is such a weird, for the 70s, it's such a funny like
mental health chat.
And he gives him all this wisdom, and then De Niro goes like, that's the craziest thing I've ever heard.
He switches it back on.
He says it so then he's like, it's the craziest thing.
It's almost like he goes, have you lost your mind?
Yeah, exactly.
But then he's gonna go and buy some guns.
True. I think it's because he's going, listen, man, like this is actually, it's like when you're like, I'm feeling a bit shit, and someone goes like, well, if you drank water and exercised and got a good night's sleep, and you're like, oh, fuck off. It's a bit like that. Like,
Well, gimps do that.
Drugs, but. Yeah, the fact that it reminds me of the Louis kind of like scene where it's like comedians in a diner or something, or there's something that I really like about those scenes where it shows those guys together, because you're also going like, it's going, Travis Bickle is weird, but look, these guys, they're all weird. They're all proper weirdos. So I like that scene a lot, and it looks so nice as well, that scene.
100%. Like, and like you said, like all the influences that come from like that, So there's I definitely thought like a bit of Louis in there for sure.
Yeah.
Like I was like a bit of The Office with the Tim and Dawn thing. Can you think of any others?
Joker is one.
Joker, 100%.
Yeah.
Taxi, the film.
2004.
The game Driver.
Cars.
But yeah, the
Cars.
So anyway,
should we give it a rating?
Let's rate this film. So for me, I'm going to give it 4 stars. I think.
Okay.
I think that obviously it's one of the best art house. I don't know whether you would necessarily describe it as art house, but one of the best films of the 70s for sure, and one of Martin Scorsese's probably like most artistically thrilling and like satisfying films. But I think I don't always go back and watch it because it is so anxiety inducing and 100%. It is so fucking bizarre that I'm not giving it 5 stars because it's like the 5 stars like the perfect film. But
right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. That's a good way of putting it. Carl?
No. Again, I feel like probably give it 4 as well. Like I definitely wouldn't be a film I'd constantly want to watch again. Certain films we've rated on here, but just like the way it's shot, everything you mentioned about like the colour of it, distinctiveness, mad film, but again it is like a great film and so iconic.
I'm gonna go 5.
Yeah, man.
Because I feel like the thing that you said a second ago, where you're like, it's not something you put on, it's a bit of an uncomfortable watch. Have you seen Uncut Gems? You've seen that, and like
Gems,
that gives you this uncomfortable anxiety-induced feeling, and I'm like, that's just one of the many things that a film can do. It can give you that thing. So as much as there's films that I like watching because it's feel good or it's like intense or whatever, this is one of those where I'm like, it always puts you in. It's like, whoa, the 70s in New York does seem crazy. And
it gives you such a feeling.
Yeah,
like it proper gives you a weird feeling that you can't quite put your finger on, because I've never been to New York. No. But for some reason I get it when I'm watching Taxi Driver, and it's even just something like I'm not even paying attention to the scene. I'm just looking at De Niro's coat or what he's got on, or I'm looking at the stuff in the background, like 100%. The utensils and stuff. I'm like, how 70s is that? Do you know what I mean? And it makes me feel a certain way. So but I am buzzing that you gave it a 5.
Yeah, because I feel like as well, another reason is when I first started getting into films, and I was in the era of I'll buy all the classics on DVD, and it was just really all the Scorsese films. And that was one of those where I was it made me turn on to what filmmaking is a bit more, especially because it's one of the films that I could appreciate from the longest ago. 76, I'm I actually enjoy this film from 1976 as a 22-year-old guy.
No, I used to think I can watch any film post 1976. Taxi Driver's kind of the furthest you can go back. Yeah. Maybe, no, to be fair, Godfather is 72 or something, is it? Yeah,
but I didn't get that as quick as I got Taxi Driver, I don't think.
Yeah. So when do you think that you watched it?
I said 22 then, but I would have been 15, 16. Right, okay. Yeah. When I was getting into I'm going to go and do film.
We probably watched it at the same time. Yeah. We were probably in HMV at the same time.
Maybe, Put a hand on the same DVD case. Oh, sorry, mate. You can have it.
So it's all right. There's another copy down here. And then fucking you. Yeah.
You got my fucking yeah. You in there. But I'm going to give it a 5.
5 stars. Okay. Well. That's it, basically. We've discussed it. We've settled Taxi Driver. I'm sure there's so much more to say because it's brilliant. But thank you for listening, and we'll see you again another time.
See you again next episode. We're going to be talking Silence of the Lambs.
Silencio of the Lambs.
Another brilliant, fantastic film.
But so you know where we are already, don't you? I'm Karl Porter. You're
Phil Sutton.
I'm Ben Silver.
Bloody hell! Right. Good night, everyone. Goodbye.